Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Data Research and Accountability Office Hours. Today's topic is analyzing and applying student outcomes data that is not assessment related. So your host for today's session is myself, and with me I have Kevin Gillian and Roger Regan. We're going to start off by looking at how do we get to the two data resources that we're looking at. So if you are ready, we're going to be looking at the Wake data dashboard along with the Oasis data dashboards, and those two dashboards can be found in your Wake ID portal. So I'll give you a little bit of time just to sort of get those set up and have your Wake data dashboard ready, because that'll be the first one that we go into. So when we're in our Wake data dashboards, we're going to be looking at some on-time graduation. We're going to be looking at an attendance dashboard. We're going to be looking at the GPA percentages. We'll also be looking at the CTE Credentials Earned, and then finally work-based learning experiences. So I will now turn things over to Kevin, who's going to start us off with the on-time graduation.
Roger, I think that this one is yours.
I'm gonna pull this up here. Okay, I hope you all can see this screen. Can you all see this screen? No?
Pick the tab.
Can you see that now?
Yep.
You can.
We're good to go.
Okay, so I'm sorry for that hiccup. This is the on-time graduation data dashboard. On-time graduation refers to a 4-year cohort graduation rate, starting in 9th grade and finishing 4 years later in 12th grade. For early colleges, there's a 5-year rate. As you can see when you open this screen, on the very left side, you'll see several columns: school name, school year, subgroup, and then a series of bars. And this is in alphabetical order by school, high school name. So if you scroll down, you'll see a lot of high schools there. Let me just briefly explain what you're seeing. Then I'll show you how to manipulate what you're able to see on the screen by using the drop-down menus on the right side. When you open it up and you see this, Apex Friendship High is the first school you see. You'll see 2 school years, 2017-18, and below that 2018-19. Within each school year, you'll see subgroups starting with all, meaning all students, and then you have your racial and ethnic subgroups. And the final 2 are female and male. So each school, if they have sufficient number of students, and typically that means 15 students or more, will have a rate. Let me show you how on the right side. Well, so under Apex Friendship High 2017-18, the all, you can see that first bar says 96.1%. So their high school graduation rate in 27-18 was 96.1%. So the all is actually the high school rate. Okay, by subgroup, the Asian subgroup, it was 100%. The Black African American group was 96.2. And these bars are just showing graduation rate as percentages. It's not going to show you the numbers of students. If you look over to the right side under school names, the first drop-down menu, if you wanted to pick just your school, just like any drop-down menu, you would click on that first box, all, and it'll erase all of them. So say you are at Cary High School. I click on Cary, And then I'm just going to see the graduation rate percentages for Cary High School. And at this time, we have 2 years worth of data. Okay, if you want to just look at 1 year, you go to that school year drop-down menu. And again, click in the all, it'll erase those boxes. If you want to look at last year, 2018-19, you put that in. And it'll just show you for that year. Okay. If you want to look at just one subgroup, the same idea. Let's take a look at our Hispanic students. Okay, so at Cary High School last year, their rate was 72.3. Okay, say now we want to compare how well did Cary do with their Hispanic subgroup compared to other high schools in the district. So going back over to the right side under school name, now we're going to put in, click on that all to show every high school. Okay, and we still are limiting it to last year, 2018-19, and we've chose Hispanics. So now you see all the high schools in Wake County, and they range. If you wanted to put these, sort these, so you get a better sense of the high and low rates among the schools, what you can do is go over to the school name. Right now, this is sorted on that left side under school name. It's sorted alphabetically from A to Z. If I click on that little indicator arrow there, I can change that to the field, and I'm going to change that to grad rate. Okay, so that puts them in order. Okay, Panther Creek and 4 other high schools had a 100% graduation rate for Hispanics. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see Longview and Score Academy and Broughton. So if you want to look at the denominator, actually, I said earlier that it's just the percentage, but actually it looks like you can look at just the denominator. Well, I guess you can. So let me go back and change that back to field grad rate. So that's how you sort. Okay. If I want to go back and change it to alphabetic, I can do that. So that's basically it for the grad rate. We will be adding 2019-20 data this fall, so you'll have 3 years of data to look at. And it basically gives you the ability to compare your school with other schools to see how different subgroups at your school have done over the past several years. If anyone has any questions, we can take them now or wait till later. All right, I'm going to stop sharing this screen then, and we're going to go on to the next data dashboard.
Thank you, Roger. Okay, can everyone see the attendance data dashboard?
No.
And now?
That worked.
Okay, welcome to the review of the attendance data dashboard. This dashboard is a little bit more complex than many of the dashboards. We actually here have 2 tabs that we'll be reviewing. The structure of this dashboard, first of all, has the Wake County district data at the top and then the school data at the bottom. As Roger pointed out, there are filters over here on the right that we can click to get any of our subgroup information. So let me describe how we look at the attendance data dashboard. So right now we have all the school years showing. In this case, there are 3 school years. going back to 17-18. So if we scroll down in this section, we can see that there's 17-18, 18-19, 19-20. The categories for the days absent range from greater than or equal to 3 to greater than or equal to 20. Each of those categories has within it a ethnicity subgroup that's shown. And in this case, the rollover shows us that the purple subgroup represents white students, in this case, who have 3 or more absences in the 1920 school year for the district. And it shows the count at 61,446. So you'll notice at the end of this bar is this count. That's the overall count for this category. Greater than or equal to 6 would have almost 82,000, all the way up to about 8,000 or 9,000 students in the district for this past school year having 20 or more absences. If we step down to our by school panel, we'll see right away that we start in alpha order with Abbott's Creek Elementary, and it's 3 years. So in this case, your school can compare its 3 years of information by rolling or scrolling, and compare the numbers across those 3 years in those categories. So if you want to subset on this group, then let's just say we pick 1920. You'll see the county also subsets to 1920. And then you can get a sense of how visually your school not only would compare to another school for this past year's attendance data, but also to the district. If we just wanted to look at, let's say, Hispanic attendance, we can subset on that. And you'll see that those bars representing Hispanic students are the ones that show up for our school. You can also do an exclude values if you want on this filtering, so that if I clicked exclude the values and then picked one of the subgroups, it would show every subgroup but the one that I picked. You'll also see here now that we have a red X over our filter icon. You'll see that up here with school year 2. That's because we've created filters for these two. And if we want to quickly unfilter, we can just click that and it'll release the filter on that particular field. You see the filter stays on this field when we do that. So now let's move to our next dashboard. You'll see right here we have our breadcrumbs, and we're at attendance data by school. If we back up to our Wake County dashboard site, we can scroll down and see the various dashboards, and now go to our next one, GPA percentages. So this dashboard shows us, as it's titled, weighted GPA. So you're well aware if you're in high school that GPAs are both calculated unweighted and then weighted. Weighted because of the bonus points that students get for honors AP and IB courses. So that explains why there's a percentage of students who can have a GPA above 4. So here basically you'll see that the schools are listed in alpha order by GPA range categories. So 0 to 0.9, 1 to 1.9, etc. And then the percentage of students at that school, in this case 74 students, are in the range 0 to 0.9 at Apex Friendship for each of these categories. So the same rule applies over here, that we can subset to different subgroups. But I do want to point out in this particular case, you only see 2 years of data. That's because we're in the middle of June and the final GPAs haven't been calculated yet for 1920. In addition, there are a couple of other features. If you find that something has popped up on here and you need to get a refresh on your screen, you can just click refresh. And for example, any sort of numbers that might pop up on your bars will be refreshed and it'll come back to this view. Also, you can download in a variety of formats. So if you're interested in getting the data for GPA, then you might click on this data tab. If you just want a PDF, then this would be fine. And then it'll put it into a PowerPoint slide for you if you download it with the PowerPoint option. Okay, so that ends our overview of the attendance data dashboard and the GPA percentages dashboard. And I'll throw it back over to Roger for CTE.
Thank you. So what we're going to look at next is the CTE Credentials Earn dashboard. So students at high schools throughout the district can earn credentials or certifications depending on what the skill that they're getting qualified for. So if you look at this again, we have on the left side alphabetically the schools. We have 3 years of data in here so far. 1920 will be loaded later on. And within each school, it has a list by year of the credentials that were earned, and the bars are the number of students that earned those credentials. Okay. Looking over at the right at the drop-down menus to give you a better idea of what the credentials are, there is a very, very long list of credentials. You can take a look at that. A lot of them are software packages from Microsoft Office products to Adobe to Google, different types of modules. Scrolling down here, you can see the range. We also have a number of credentials and certificates that are earned by students participating in career academies, for example, Fire Academy, Firefighters Academy, Finance Academy. Toward the bottom, you'll also see here WorkKeys Gold, WorkKeys Platinum, WorkKeys Silver. And let me just choose those and explain that for a minute. So let me scroll down and put WorkKeys Gold, Platinum, and Silver. Okay. WorkKeys medals, the gold, silver, and platinum, are given to students after they take the ACT WorkKeys. The ACT WorkKeys is a career aptitude ability test that a lot of CTE concentrators take. And depending on your score, you're given a gold. Platinum is the highest, then gold, then silver. There's also bronze and a lower level one. But anyway, so when a student earns this credential, they can, when they go out looking for a job, they can present this to employers. And it's a credential that shows that, you know, they have scored at a proficient or higher level on this exam. And if you want more information about that exam, I would suggest Googling WorkKeys, ACT WorkKeys. But anyway, as you can see down here, we have quite a few students across the district. Let's just take a look at 1 year, 18-19, to get a better sense how many students are taking this exam. Okay, so you can see even that first school, Apex Friendship, we have 43 who got a silver, 36 a platinum, and 44 a gold. So over 100 students at Apex Friendship High took that exam and got a medal that is a industry recognized credential. Okay. These are typically CTE concentrators. So when you add up these numbers for these, you can get a sense of how many students at each high schools were CTE concentrators. Okay, let me go back over here to school name. And let me put these in numerical order and just let's just look at the gold. So these are the number of students at each high school who scored at the highest level on the CTE exam. Okay. The WorkKeys exam. So Panther Creek had 68 students, Apex 60, Cary 54. And then it kind of reflects the numbers, not only the number of students at the school, but the number that are actually CTE concentrators. Let me choose another credential. Let's take a look at one of the Microsoft Office credentials. So let me redo this. Scroll down, and these are in alphabetical order. So let's see how many students have passed the Microsoft Office Specialist Excel core. And I'm not sure what all of these, how you distinguish all of these types of credentials, but you can see right away they're sorted by high school. Panther Creek and Green Hope have the largest number of students. So these are often given as classes, elective classes, but it is up to the student, I believe, to choose whether or not to take these exams. Let's take a look at Adobe Dreamweaver. Okay, so we only have, 7 or so schools that teach this and have students who actually take the exam. So if you're interested in whether your school should be offering some more of these opportunities for credentials, you can compare yourself to other schools. You can choose the credential, and you'll have 3 years of data to look at your trend in your school and across the district. So I hope that that's a useful way of looking at your CTE data. I'm going to stop sharing this screen, and I'm going to share another screen on CTE. Well, actually, it's not CTE. It's work-based learning opportunities. Let me do that. Hold on one second. Let me pull this. So at the data dashboard screen, scroll down and look for that. The very last one says work-based learning experiences. I'm going to double click on that. So this is a very colorful one. Work-based learning experience. Right now we have 3 years of data. However, the data for 2019-20, this current year, are not as complete as previous years. That data is still being entered by the career coordinators at high schools. As part of Wake County's commitment to college and career preparation, our high schools, and in some cases a few middle schools, offer a lot of different opportunities for work-based learning. And these are experiences that are off-site. They're not at the high school. They're at the site of an employer, a company, a supermarket, an office, wherever it may be. And there are 6 or 7 different types of work-based experiences that aren't shown here. They range from internships to paid work experiences, to apprenticeships, to job interview, workshops, that kind of thing. And if you do want more information about the different types of work-based learning experience, there is a module in Oasis. I'm not sure who all has access to it, but if you go into Oasis under DEER's system, and I can briefly show that if you want. Okay, this is Oasis DEER's. And then you would click on Career and Technical Education, and you can click on that and submit your selection, and you can choose your school. If you're at a school, typically you can only see your school. because this does contain student ID, names, but it'll give you details about, where the student worked, what type of work experience it was. So if you do want more information about your school, you can click on that. Let me go back then to the dashboard. On the left again is you have your school names, your school years, and then the bars, if you hover over them, each of these colors represents a subgroup, a race or ethnicity subgroup. So in the case of Apex Friendship High, I'm hovering over the pinkish purple bar and it says white. In 2017-18, there were 140 experiences. The following year, 90. And if you scroll over to the right, you'll see students identified 2 or more races: Hispanic, Black, African American, Asian. So like all the other dashboards, you can choose your year. Okay, so let's just choose 2018-19 because that data is complete. Okay, our grade level, most of the experiences are in 11th and 12th grade. Let's take a look at just 12th grade. And then you can choose a race if you want by clicking on that. Let's take a look and choose white students. Okay, so these are the number of students at each of our high schools who had a work-based learning experience last year. And you can see, again, there's wide variation in the number. And if you go over to the school name and you want to sort these in descending order, click on that down arrow, go to field, and click on sum. And you'll see Apex High had, let me change this ethnicity to all. Well, yeah, so all, even though it shows each of the races and ethnicity, the totals you can see here. So last year, for 12th graders, Apex High School had the most students engaged in a work-based experience. But keep in mind that, as I mentioned earlier, there is a range of work-based experience. So just because a school has a lot more students showing here doesn't necessarily mean that those work-based experiences are comparable to ones at another school. One school could have a lot of job interview experiences. Another school could have more internships. Another school could have more occupational career path students working. So it does vary. So you can compare yourself to other schools, but keep that in mind. Let me take a look at just switch this to 11th grade. Maybe there's more students participating in 11th grade. Actually, it looks like fewer. So now Enloe is at the top with 147, and there are fewer. So it appears that if I go to 10th grade, yeah, it appears that 12th grade has the most students that are doing work-based experiences. And besides the ones that I've mentioned already, another group of students who participate in this are students enrolled in career academies, and we have over 20 career academies in the district. And these students usually are required to do a work-based experiences. So if I go to, for example, the school name, if we look at just our early colleges, let me scroll down to Wake Early College of Health, Wake STEM, Wake Young Men's and Women's Leadership Academies, North Wake College and Career Academy, and Vernon Malone. Let me get that as well. Okay, these are our career academies. You can see here for 2018-19, Vernon Malone had 20 students participating. Actually, let me change this to all grades, or let me include grade 13, which is important. Okay, but it's still showing 3. The numbers, in the case of Wake STEM, 44. So that's pretty much an entire cohort of students. Well, this is over 2 grades, but the number of students at the academies are smaller. But it looks like some of them either don't have data entered. That's another point to keep in mind. These data, the source of these data are from our career coordinators at high schools, and all of this data has to be entered in by them. So in some cases, there's a lag. In some cases, not all of the data is entered. So that may also account for some differences among schools. Okay, let me go back to all schools. And this is just all races, and this is 11th and 12th grade. So that's basically what's available in this dashboard. I hope that is useful. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen and take any questions.
Roger, can you share with us how, if a person doesn't have access to the report you shared in OASIS, who would they have to contact, or how would they?
So I would suggest they just send an email to the help desk and request access. And if it's a principal, that there's no issue there. But for anyone outside of a principal, I would probably copy your principal, so they probably need permission from their principal as well. So I think, the career counselors and the administrators of the school have access to it. But yeah, with anything in our Wake ID portal, if there's something, and OASIS does have several different kinds of modules that are designed for people who have a particular reason to use it. They were developed for those people. So if you don't have access, contact the help desk, and I think they can give it to you.
Thank you. Well, it looks as though we don't have any more questions. So I want to thank everyone for joining us, taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us. If you want to check out more about upcoming topics, please check our website. It's listed on the screen. Make a copy of it. We have another one coming up next Wednesday, same time, same channel, and we hope to see you then. Thank you for joining us. Bye.